Thanks for coming tonight. We apologize, we got a little bit of a late start, and the reason is, and I'll make the announcement, the Planning Commission held an executive session right before the meeting for the purposes of litigation or anticipated litigation regarding the Invenergy matters. We held it at the Borough Building for about a half an hour to go over some of those legal issues that may be surrounding this whole project. So that's why we're late and where we were. So with that, I'm going to ask, we have two things on the agenda tonight. Before we address the Invenergy curative amendment, which is the largest of our agenda items, we have one thing else to address, and that would be the spot development, which was continued over from last month's meeting. And with that, I'm going to hand the things over. We have the applicant present, Attorney Steve Evers, on behalf of the applicant. Steve?
Thank you, Rich. We're here tonight on behalf of Eric and Christine Spatt to request the approval of the subdivision plan that they have presented. We submitted it to the county. The county had minimal comments. The notations have been all made on the present plans that are before the Planning Commission. This is the property that on which Scranton Cooperage was located in the industrial park. There was an accidental, a disastrous fire last June. The building was destroyed. My client was effectively put out of business. He wishes to reopen in a slightly, not reopen, he's continuing, but it's in a much smaller fashion. He's, the building was originally 3 times the size of what we're presently requesting approval for. In addition, all of the activities in the future, all of the cleaning activities will be handled inside the facility. The change in the nature of the business is that all of the drums and totes and things that were stored on the site for many years are pretty much going to be removed. There will be probably about 1/3 of what was originally there. We have an agreement with the Planning Commission that if approval is granted, that we will limit the height of all vessels that are stored on the property to 16 feet. Which is just about the height of the building, and it's not going to be the higher stacks before. We're in compliance, but we agree with the commission that we will not store beyond the 16-foot level. At this point, let me introduce Eric Spatt, who's been a businessman in the town for 25 years, and Mr. John Giannakopoulos. He's an architect who has done the revised plans for this submission, and I'll ask John to make the presentation.
Provide some orientation here. The grade.
John, try to get close to the mic on that one. That's a little weaker than the others.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's good. The gray strip, the vertical strip there, that's Mid Valley Drive. That's the present entrance road. The blue square and rectangle you see here is the existing office building, which is about 1,100 square feet.
And that's still standing, right?
That's going to stand. That's the administrative office. The L-shaped configuration here, that was the building that burnt down. Presently, there is an L-shaped configuration. That's the slab, the existing building slab that was left from the front. Okay. The dark rectangle is a 50 by 70 foot building that we're going to put back, and that's the building that Steve mentioned as far as what kind of process is going to occur in that building. That's 3,500 square feet. That portion that we're not going to build back is a 70 by 100 area, and that's 7,000 square feet. That is gonna be used for parking, okay? The comments that were made from the Lackawanna County Planning Commission was that we needed to pave, and what you see here in gray, light gray, is a paved area for the shipping area and an entrance way to that slab that I spoke earlier about, and that's for the parking, okay? And we're gonna provide accessible parking, and that beige L shape is a walkway to the entrance of the building. The light area in the back is going to exist, and that's existing gravel surface area, mainly for storage, I guess. Other than that, the property is surrounded by vegetation. So I think the whole project is kept to a minimum. That's basically, do you have any questions? Address those.
What did you say the back area was gonna be used for?
Right now, it's gravel,
Right.
and it's gonna stay that way.
There won't be any apparent use for it?
Storage, yeah, just storage.
Like what?
The empty drums that we process.
Well, there would be drums outside.
Yes.
The same height as we had before?
No.
A maximum of 16 feet, we've agreed with your solicitor that we would not pile beyond the 16-foot level.
Is there any screening of any sort so that the neighbor would not have to look at the storage?
This is all vegetation around the entire side. The one side, there's minimal vegetation because the fellow next door took it down. But it's fully screened, it's fully fenced, and on the 3 of the 4 sides, there's well-developed vegetation.
You're asking for a subdivision of this property, or is this property?
We're just asking for approval of the development plan to complete the building,
And these,
rebuild the building.
on the 16-foot high vessels,
Yeah.
what's inside, what's in there?
They'll be empty.
The empty drums.
They'll be empty drum. Oh, okay, so you're gonna palletize them and stack them?
Yes.
On each other up to 16 feet high, so you'll have roughly 4 to 5 high. Okay, and
Four only.
4 only. And the process is to clean these, to go back out?
Well, so, I'll get involved. There are 2 companies that are, Span Cooperage is no longer. We've retained, and we named the company as American Container Processors. The building that we're asking to get the permit for is going to be processing one company. It's a one drum, and that's the only drum that we're processing. The rest of the space is being used by a company called Kearney Steel Container out of Newark, New Jersey, who took the majority of our business and is handling the customers moving forward. What the objective and the usage of this land is this location will handle their accounts north of us, bring the drums in, they'll be sorted and then brought down into Newark. The drums that are on this section, that are Kearney Steel, the objective is to bring them in, sort them, and return them to their property as soon as possible, leaving virtually no inventory on our land.
So the actual cleaning isn't done at
There's
the
none
site?
done.
This is just a distribution?
Right. It's a
Okay.
distribution
Except
center, sorted.
for the one customer inside the new building.
So how many gallons of solvent cleaner or whatever you're using for these are you storing?
110 gallons.
That's it?
That's it.
all you-
What is the solvent here?
Isopropyl alcohol. Rubbing alcohol. 110 gallons is our maximum that we need for this process. The company brings in 80 of these containers at a time. We process them, they pick them up, and drop 80 more off.
When you talk about,
Excuse me, go ahead.
when you spoke about 1/3 of, the yard is gonna represent 1/3 of your previous, volume, what is that number? What is a third? What's the math work out?
It's 3,500 square.
No, no. talking about the storage in the back here. Originally, this was all used
Approximately 2,000 drums.
for storage.
The trailer holds 345.
Of which are the clean product,
No, there'll be the used containers that are empty.
empty,
Each trailer holds 345. We do 4 trailers a day,
empty meaning uncleaned or
unclean,
to be cleaned at your site?
in Newark. All we're doing is bringing them in, sorting them, and organizing them so when they land in Newark, they're in an orderly fashion, they can process them in a better way.
What's the worst turnaround for unclean,
30 days.
what's the various materials in those?
We mainly handle soaps and foods.
Will,
Exclusively?
will the containers be opened in any way?
Exclusively?
I'm not sure what you know that.
Only. Just those two things?
No, sir.
Would there be, what would be another possibility?
A solvent, an oil, a paint.
But these drums are theoretically, according to DOT, empty. They shouldn't be shipped over the highway. So they're theoretically empty when they get to our site.
They had residual amounts.
Yeah, on the sides, yeah.
All drums they need to come to, are allowed to come to our facility are wrecked or empty, which means that they are drip dry before they are loaded onto our trailers.
So
And they're sealed before they can be transported over the highway.
the 110 gallons of alcohol that you have cleans how many?
80.
80 barrels?
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd have to store more than just 2 drums of it, wouldn't you? Because you're gonna turn around 80 barrels a day?
No, 80, it takes us 2 weeks.
2 weeks to turn around 80
80 of
barrels?
these.
Oh, okay, okay.
So as we
You
finish
use the 80 gallons, or the 110 of,
So you're gonna have 110 of alcohol, and then you're gonna have 110 of an alcohol, what you cleaned mix?
Well, Safety Clean and where our contract is with,
Okay,
comes and picks up a drum as we fill it.
okay, that was one thing that I.
So it will max at about 110, because we'll be using 1 drum of it as we empty one is leaving.
Gotcha.
As we empty the second, 2 more are coming.
Okay.
Other than the loading and unloading outside, Eric, will there be any other activity going on other than the switching of the container?
No,
Will the caps to these containers ever be opened in any way or any need to open them while outside the yard?
no, sir.
I understand that the prior business used to have a cleaning, they used to clean, treat the barrels right there on site, and as a result, that you had a sewer treatment permit issued. What's the status of that?
Well, we've canceled our permit. We have no connection to the sewer moving forward.
Why is that?
We have no need for any water usage at all in our process.
Did you physically disconnect it?
We did.
And that sewage treatment permit's been canceled with who? Lackawanna River Basin?
Yes.
As a condition of approval, if they were to give it, would you agree to have that as a condition, that you shall not request another sewage treatment permit without notifying the borough?
The only sewage we have is for the bathrooms, so that.
Treatment.
Correct. We would not, yes.
Eric, some of the chemicals that might be other than food or soap, would they possibly, much like gasoline is impregnated in steel? I've seen people work on steel gas tanks that were empty for many years, and it's fireworks.
And there's no gas in the drums that we handle.
Okay, but any of those other materials that might be in there, things that might be flammable, paint, oil-based, chemical, or the latex paint?
There'll be no work being done to those drums on our property. All we're doing is bringing them in. Sometimes they're not even coming off the trailer, depending on what is on that trailer. You might just go through it, organize it on that trailer, and add to that trailer to ship it down to Newark. None of those drums are being handled on our property, will be opened on our property. They're just being transferred from northern companies that we deal with, and shipped down into Newark.
So the vehicles that carry them would be hazmat vehicles?
No, they're not. Not required by DOT.
Your loading and parking areas there, they're gonna be resurfaced with what? Asphalt, concrete, or?
Asphalt.
Tony, did you or Dennis have anything?
The only,
You want
Rick-
this?
that's all right.
Talk
Rick
about it.
covered the industrial discharge in the sewer, which was one of my concerns. The other one that we talked about is, in the past, trailers that sat sometimes overnight in the right of way. We'd like to eliminate that.
Well, we eliminated all of that because the amount of flow that's running through our property
Right.
and the amount of work we're doing is dramatically reduced, and we have now excessive space.
The only other thing is, and I actually called John yesterday, and I didn't have this, but Steve Petoniak had sent a letter as his capacity as the fire chief back in December. I'm sure you have a copy. I'll pass a copy out to these guys, where he had asked some fire safety things that you would do, and his height restrictions in here only are higher than your 16 feet, so that's not a concern. So the other things he asked for in here, and these guys can look at it, are aisles. But since you're gonna be at a third capacity, that shouldn't be an issue.
Steve came up to our facility, we went over that, and we walked around, we walked through, and we came up with a plan that he was very happy with.
And that's pretty much what's in this letter. And like I said, I'll pass it out to these guys, and Steve just wanted me to bring it up, that's all. Like I said, those are the Steve's issue, the industrial discharge, which has gone away, and the trailers on the road were the only, issues that I had. But,
Well, I have one.
Would a Knox box be required for this?
We have one. Yes.
Any changes to hours of operation?
No.
And what are the hours?
7:30 to 4. One shift only.
You said you would store the barrels, 4 barrels high?
We'd be less than 16 feet.
Right, because I mean, in here, the letter states metal barrels may be stored 6 barrels high.
We are going to go 5. You had said, that's why I said 16 feet, but typically it's 5 high.
There's a difference between a barrel and a tote. The totes are roughly this size, and they'd be 4 high. The barrels are like a light barrel. They're stacked in a different fashion, so they get a little higher. Or have a different configuration.
The whole gravel area that you pointed out, would that be all storage?
If necessary, but it's not going to be. It's
That's where the drums are going to be stored.
Right. About 80 you can turn around in no less than.
Well, the 80 will be inside of the building. What we're processing will be stored only in the building.
Gotcha.
This is a stainless steel container. They won't be stored outside at all. They'll be kept only in the building, processed onto the truck from the building and left on property.
And you may have mentioned it, Eric, if you did, I apologize, but inside the building, this one customer, these containers, stainless steel that you're cleaning, what was in them, or what will be
It
in
was
them?
a UV resin coating that's applied to the outside of fiber optics cable. And what our job is to purge any remaining coating that is in there. We collect that, we mist the interior with the isopropyl, we inspect the container, and then we send it back to the company.
Eric, can you hear me? Are you just cleaning metal barrels, or are you cleaning all type of barrels?
It's just going to be the stainless steel container.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Perini, while you're there, we almost forgot about you, I'm sorry. Were you able to hear all that fine? Everything that...
I'm sorry?
Were you able to hear?
Yeah, I can hear everything you say.
Okay, you heard loud and clear?
I heard the attorney's presentation, I heard Eric's presentation. Yes, I hear it out. That's why I asked him about the barrels.
By the way, folks, you know, we're setting all kind of records this year in Jessup, but this is a first for, I think, any municipality in the county, so pretty inventive, and Mr. Perini, we do appreciate